phone booth, making a few calls, doodling weird things, using the booth walls.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Chuck's Culture Channel, your YouTube source for lively conversation on the lively arts here in St. Louis and beyond. And in this episode, I'm talking with singer Jonathan Karrant. His current tour will land him at the Blue Strawberry here in St. Louis, December 14th, 2023, and at many other venues throughout the country well into 2024. Check the link to his website in the video description field below for more information. During the holidays, he'll be featuring songs from his 2022 Christmas Wish album. After that, the emphasis shifts to numbers from his latest release, Eclectic, which lives up to its name with a wide range of music in Jonathan's unique jazz/cabaret style. Speaking of that style, here's an example.
The snow is snowing, the wind is blowing, I can weather the storm. What do I care how much it may storm? I've got my love to keep me warm. I can't remember a worse December. Watch those icicles form. What do I care how icicles form? I've got my love to keep me warm. Off with my overcoat, off with my gloves. Who needs an overcoat? I'm burning with love. My heart's on fire, the flame goes higher. I shall weather the storm, storm, storm. What do I care how much it may storm? I've got my love to keep me warm.
Okay, so there we had a little bit of video with Jonathan Karrant, my guest today, and here he is on Chuck's Culture Channel. Jonathan, welcome back to Chuck's Culture Channel.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And as people who are regular watchers of this may know, assuming there are any, you were last interviewed by me in April when we were talking about your upcoming gig here in St. Louis at the Blue Strawberry, where you were doing a Valentine's Day show. And this time around, as people can tell by the festive decorations behind me, you're going to be at the Blue Strawberry on the 14th of December, 2023, and it's going to have some stuff from your album, A Christmas Wish. Yes?
That's right. Yes. Most of the set will be things from the album, and I'm really proud of that album. It features a great trio, the Joe Alterman Trio, Kenny Rampton, Houston Person, Diane Shure. And we did plan to do it last Christmas there in St. Louis, but the weather kept us from hitting the stage. So it'll be nice to finally bring it to you guys. And all the arrangements were a lot of fun to come up with, unique things for songs that have been beloved by me and many other people for years, but they're all very nostalgic for me. And so it was a really fun project to put together. But I did release a new album in September called Eclectic. So we're probably going to sneak away from the holiday theme for a moment and do a couple things off the new record.
Right, because Christmas Wishes from last year and Eclectic is more or less brand new.
That's correct, yeah. So, with a Christmas album, you can promote it every year, but it'll be nice to do some things from the new album as well.
Okay. Well, let's talk about who you're going to be performing with here, because you are working with some very fine local musicians on this one here in St. Louis.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to hitting the stage with them. They're, great guys. I've worked with all of them before. Adam Menez on piano, Bob DeBoo on bass, and Caleb Kirby on drums. And sweet guys, and as you all know, there in St. Louis, the cream of the crop, great players. So we're really going to have a good time.
Yeah, Adam, of course, is a crossover artist because he's also involved in the classical world, and excuse me, allergies. What can I say? And you have your share of experience in the classical as well as jazz and Broadway worlds, right?
Yeah, I've dabbled into some of the more popular classic kind of things that are more traditional, and a little bit into like the R&B world. So yeah.
Well, you were in you sung in the opera at one time in your past.
Well, I did in the chorus basically, and then I did a lot
Hmm.
of character roles. So yeah, that is some classical training, but it wasn't too heavy in that world. But and I haven't dipped my toes there in a long time,
Yeah.
but yeah, all that kind of helps, mold you and finding your own voice.
Hmm. I mean, I mentioned this in the interview we did back in February, but you have quite a very musical background.
Right. Yeah. I mean, my mother was a ballerina, so there was a lot of classical stuff growing up in the house, a lot of show tunes in the house, and then my grandparents listened to a lot of the Great American Songbook. So I kind of gravitated towards that, and then just dug deeper and deeper into it.
Yeah. Now, you, I guess, are mostly a jazz singer. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, that's a big argument and I'm kind of over it. But that conversation is, always up for argument. People have different ideas on what a jazz singer is. A lot of people think that you have to scat to be a jazz singer. I do scat, and I do believe a little goes a long way. And I don't think everybody should scat that does scat out there. But you know, um, but then again, there are legendary jazz singers that didn't ever scat that I think
Hmm.
most people wouldn't argue are jazz singers. But I play with time, I play with melody, so that very much is something that's in the jazz realm. But I'm using both sides of my brain probably, or I'm juggling because even though technically I like to play with things, my biggest intent is still to bring across feeling and storytelling.
Right.
So I want the audience to leave still being moved. Um, so some people think that that's not a jazz singer, that a jazz singer is only uh, plays with the technical things. But then if you think of somebody like Carmen McRae, who I
Hmm.
think most people would say was a jazz singer,
Yeah.
she definitely worked a lot on emotion and acting out the song, but she threw her own style to it, which might have bended notes or bended time. So
Uh, it,
to each their own opinion on that conversation.
well, the last time we talked, I mentioned that you bring a cabaret singer's sensibility to the jazz stuff you do, and you, as you just mentioned, you're paying a lot of attention to the lyric as well and to the story behind it, which a lot of jazz singers don't do. I know the last time we talked, you mentioned a good example was Ann Hampton Callaway, who does both
Yes,
really
yeah,
well.
she can juggle both hats. I mean, she's definitely a musician herself who can play with time, play with melody, but she also does have a very good sense of the storytelling and getting the meaning across and honoring the lyric and taking you on a journey. Yeah, I just
Mhm.
actually was a guest in her show the last time
Oh,
she came here to Las Vegas, and we did a couple duets together, and she's brilliant. Yeah,
yeah.
and she's a
And
beautiful, beautiful soul too.
yeah, yeah, she is. We've had her in here for the cabaret conference in the past, and just a great all-around person.
Yes.
So, bringing that sensibility to the Christmas music you're going to do, I mean, are there any challenges in that? Because this is music that everybody knows, and so you got to put your own personal stamp on it. Are there any? I mean, what's that process like for you? I guess is what I'm trying to ask.
Well, I guess since most of the holiday songs we're doing are from Christmas Wish, the album, they're already unique arrangements, tailor made for myself. So I already feel like the arrangements are fresh and unique. Uh, but yeah, you know, there's so many holiday shows that people can run off to see this time of year. So, you know, I really think that there are a mix of songs that we're going to do that are beloved by everybody, well known by everybody, and then there's a couple that maybe aren't always heard as much.
Hmm.
And we've really, like for instance, "Grown Up Christmas Wish," which is the
Right.
Dave Foster. We did it with Diane Shure, my good friend. I just saw her Friday night. I was a guest in her show, and we
Okay.
sang this song. And then she called me the next yesterday because she was 2 nights, and I could only be with her Friday night, and then I went on to San Diego. And then she called me Sunday and said, "Oh, I did Grown Up Christmas Wish alone." And I got to a section that you sing, and she said, I totally blanked. And she said it ended up being a comical moment for the audience. But she yelled out, "This is usually where Jonathan takes over," or something. But she covered it, I'm sure. She's a pro. But she thought it was a sweet kind of comical moment. But that song is usually done as a sweet ballad. It's
Hmm.
almost got like a Disney kind of sound to it. Like it's just a classical, kind of clean, beautiful ballad. And Diane Shure being the, you know, kind of, I mean, she's the reigning queen of jazz, but she's definitely got a real soulful
Hmm.
style behind the jazz roots. So I wanted to definitely emphasize that. So we took the song to church, and we gave it a 6/8 groove, and there's organ on it, and it really comes out more like a spiritual cry, a soulful plead, you know, for peace. So it's really,
All right.
you know, that right there is super unique. So, and you don't always hear that one too much either, but we really put our own stamp to it.
Okay. Now, you've got a
Yeah.
lot of gigs coming up across the country from here well into next year, obviously, not just the Christmas things. And you mentioned Eclectic. So let's talk a little bit about that here in conclusion, because I have not had a chance to hear that one yet. So
Oh,
what's that
all
about?
right.
The
I'll
title
bring.
makes suggestions, but
Yeah, I'll bring you a copy, or it's on all
it's on
Spotify,
Spotify. I
or
can listen.
all,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So the that project was kind of born. It was born in 2020, and we all know what we were doing in 2020. So
Hunkering down. Yes.
yeah, so it didn't really, you know, usually when I think of an album, like the Christmas album, you know, I had really picked the material before even hitting the studio, and we were really coming up with the arrangements in advance. And a fan friend, Karen, and she came to me and said, you know, if we're all going to be hunkered down like this, there are certain songs I'd like at my fingertips. Would you go into the studio and record like 2 or 3 requests? And I said, absolutely. So we started this project, and then it just kept growing and morphing, and little by little, we added to it. And then one of the tracks, for what it's worth, actually comes from the Christmas album, because we were doing the Christmas album in March of 2021. And I said, we need a break. Let's do something not Christmas, because, you know, we just needed a break from the Christmas stuff. So we recorded that song at that time. So I pulled that for Eclectic, and then I had something else laying on the shelf that I'd recorded in Los Angeles. And it's really the album is eclectic in the sense that it's a mix of songs from the Great American Songbook, you know, like "Spring Can Hang You Up the Most"
Oh,
or
yeah.
"The Song Is You." But then we pulled things from different eras and different genres, but gave them a jazz timeless treatment. So there are James Taylor songs. "The Secret of Life" is on the album. There's a
Oh,
Macy
okay.
Gray. Yeah, there's a Macy Gray song. There's a show tune, or yeah, it's from Willy Wonka. So I guess that's a movie and a you know, musical theater kind of thing. So it's, you know, some pop R&B, you know, things from the 70s, things from the 2000s, things from the 30s. You know, so it's kind of like, but it all, you know, actually comes off beautifully together, because it flows really well together. So even though it's eclectic, it all comes together in a nice album.
Okay, and
Yeah.
that's your latest album, and that was released what, just a couple months ago, I think.
That was released September of 2023, and that
September.
also has some different. Again, it's eclectic, so it has musicians from Los Angeles, musicians from here in Vegas, musicians from New York, and it has a beautiful duet with Jane Monheit, "Love Dance," and that also features hornblower Houston Person. And when the album released, one reviewer said that our recording of "Love Dance" would pair well with Satin Sheets. So it's a really sensuous song already, but to have Houston's really known for playing these beautiful ballads and very smooth, and then with Jane's smooth and sensual tone and my tone, it's these three really smooth, beautiful components coming together. So it builds really nicely too.
Okay, very good. Well, folks, take a look at the video description field down here below. There it is. And check out where Jonathan is going to be and when. As I say, we're recording this on December 6th, 2023. He'll be here in St. Louis at the Blue Strawberry on the 14th, but lots of other places before and after that. And check out his website. Check him out on Spotify and all the other places you can find his music. Jonathan, just one last question. How's the dog doing?
She's good. She's taking a nap behind me.
Of course.
And she hasn't grown any. I think she's almost maybe 4 pounds, but not quite.
So she's still a baby.
Well, she's
size.
Yeah. I mean, she'll always be a baby, I guess.
Right. Yes, it's same with ours. I mean, yes, he's a little guy and he'll always be a little guy, even though he's 14 years old.
Yes. Well,
okay.
She's 2 or 3 now, so yeah.
Okay, very good. Well, listen, as it is now not yet Christmas, season's greetings to you and to everybody out there. And once again, everybody go see Jonathan wherever he is, and tell everybody about Chuck's Culture Channel here on YouTube. Spread the word. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell everybody.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great chatting with you again.
Thank you. Same here, Jonathan. Thanks very much. And everybody out there on the internet, see you later. See you next time.
We just do the all day. We just do the